Whether it be stress over planting delays or uncertainties about the global market, farmers may be having a tough time right now, but Karen Stallman with the Farm Family Resource Initiative says a hotline is available for farmers to reach out 24/7. The call is anonymous and resources are offered for further assistance. Farmers, their spouses, and kids having mental health concerns can call or text the hotline at 833-FARM SOS. Get news anytime at DeWittDailyNews.com. We are 26 minutes ahead of the hour here on this Wednesday morning under partly cloudy skies in Clinton. It is 76 degrees, feels like 75 outside.
Local information that makes a difference. Here's your regional weather.
Today, could see a chance of a shower this morning, otherwise sunny. Highs around 90 degrees today, a very calm south wind. Partly cloudy tonight and a low of 70. Sunny on Thursday with a high in the upper 80s, a south-southeast wind at 15 to 25 miles per hour. Friday, sunny, highs in the mid-80s. Saturday, a 50% chance of rain, otherwise partly sunny, highs in the lower 80s. And Sunday, sunny with a high near 80 degrees. Across central Illinois, as we roll through this Wednesday morning, right now in Bloomington, 77 in Hayworth and Leroy, 78 in Farmer City, 78 in Champaign and Monticello, 76 in Decatur, 77 in Lincoln, 79 in Springfield, and 80 degrees in Peoria. 76 cloudy in Clinton on this Wednesday morning. Feels like 75 outside. Winds are calm. 99% humidity. 7 miles of visibility this morning. Weather anytime is at DeWittDailyNews.com.
Get ready for warmer weather with Love It Once More Thrift Store in Clinton. We have summer clothes for the whole family. We will also be having sales all month, so check out our Facebook page or DeWittDailyNews.com. This is Connie reminding you, when you shop and donate to our nonprofit store, you help us help others.
This is Ryan Utterback with Utterback Real Estate. It's that time of year again.
Oh, that's right. I forgot to change my clocks.
No, I mean it's time to spring forward and list your home.
No wonder I've been late all week.
And that's why you're the other Ryan.
Click the Utterback Real Estate icon at DeWittDailyNews.com.
As spring planting takes off, Illinois farmers are not only feeding America, they're powering America too. All across Illinois, homegrown power from wind farms are helping secure American energy independence without relying on volatile fuel prices. Renewable energy keeps our air and water clean for people, crops, and wildlife. Apex Clean Energy is partnering with farmers across Illinois to power stronger communities. Learn how at apexcleanenergy.com.
ServPro of Piatt DeWitt Counties is proud to be the exclusive sponsor of WHOW Clinton Maroon Player of the Game. Announced at the end of every Maroon sports broadcast, our WHOW announcing staff will select that night's WHOW ServPro Piatt DeWitt Counties Clinton Maroon Player of the Game, whose play will be highlighted in each WHOW Maroon postgame broadcast, and that player receives a certificate. ServPro of Piatt DeWitt Counties. Make it like it never happened. Find out their services by clicking their icon at DeWittDailyNews.com.
DeWitt County's #1 source for local news is on the air and online 24 hours a day. The latest local news stories are heard every hour on Central Illinois' news station, the Big 1520 AM and 92.3 FM WHOW. Stream live at DeWittDailyNews.com. They're also heard every hour on the station that's your easy choice, 95.9 FM WEZC. And to read the latest local news on your electronic device, including tablets, iPhones, and smartphones, go to DeWittDailyNews.com. DeWitt County's #1 source for local news is on the air, online 24 hours a day.
You're listening to The Morning Show, streamed by clicking the WHOW Live icon at DeWittDailyNews.com.
Top of the morning. Thanks for being with us. I'm your host today, Seth Lawrence. My guest on the in the studio, I should say, is Clinton Police Chief Ben Lowers. As the morning show streams to Facebook and YouTube, it's brought to you by Peterson Insurance, your Pekin Insurance agent in Clinton. Good morning, Chief. How are you, sir?
Good morning, Seth. I'm doing well.
Good to hear. Little birdie told me that you were the master of ceremonies for a big celebration on Saturday night.
I was. Had a good time out at the Clinton Country Club for the Clinton Community Education Foundation's Derby Day. Kind of centered around the Kentucky Derby, and had a really good time. It's a great cause. It's a great fundraiser. They do a lot for our Clinton School District. in terms of the foundation and scholarships and classroom grants and things of that nature. So a really good event, great time. Had that Derby Day theme, a lot of the attire and ladies' hats and things. So really good time. And how about that Kentucky Derby and a come from behind
I know
underdog?
It's
So
what
I
a
always
race.
love a good underdog story.
What
so,
a race.
Had a really good time.
Good deal. Good deal. How was your first time doing the MC thing? Did you enjoy it?
Well, I wouldn't mind doing it again now that I know.
Yeah.
I'm not going to lie. I was a little bit nervous. Wasn't real sure what I was supposed to do or what to expect and whatnot. And now getting through that, I guess, would have a little bit better idea the next time. And of course, my own mother being on the board there and the one who asked me if I'd be willing to do it, a little pressure there. So, but no, it was a good time. Good time.
Good deal, Chief. Well, let's dive in. We've got a lot to get to this week, and I had forgotten next week is Police Week, and so that's a big week for folks in law enforcement. How about that?
It is. May 15th is Peace Officer Memorial Day each and every year, and the week within it falls is Police Week. So President Kennedy created Police Week October 1st of 1961, and it was signed into bill on October 1st, 1962, again designating May 15th as Peace Officer Memorial Day. That's Peace Officer Memorial Day, obviously a time when we memorialize all of those that have been lost in the line of duty. We have 3 right here locally. That was, we go through these each and every year to memorialize them. Lieutenant Raymond Terry with the Clinton Police Department passed away on January 25th of 1983 at the age of 53 when he suffered a heart attack during a struggle while effecting arrest on a fight call. Another Clinton Police Chief John Struble passed away July 14th, 1910 at the age of 45 by gunfire. Chief Struble was conducting surveillance on a house where thefts had occurred 3 nights in a row from a refrigerator on a covered porch. The suspect arrived at midnight when Chief Struble attempted to take the suspect into custody, which time the suspect produced a handgun and shot Struble in the head. In 1913, that suspect was arrested in Des Moines, Iowa, and confessed to killing Chief Struble, but was later acquitted when a farmer testified for the suspect that he was in Scotia, Illinois, on the night of the murder. And most recently, October 10th, 1993, Sheriff's Deputy James William, or J.W. Cook, was age 36 when he'd been on the DeWitt County Sheriff's Office for 8 years. Deputy Cook was killed in an automobile accident while responding to a domestic disturbance, hit a deer, airbags deployed, and hit some trees. Obviously, we still have a few around yet, and were present during my era that worked with Deputy Cook, including Sheriff Walker. And so that one's pretty near and dear to even the current staffs today. So in 2021, statistics from the Officer Down Memorial page, there were 617 officers lost in the line of duty. That is the deadliest year on record, but 475 of those are attributed to COVID-19. There were 64 by gunfire and 61 in automobile accidents. In Illinois, there were, I guess I have 2019 statistics here of 6, but there's already been 102 line of duty deaths in the country here in 2022, and Illinois has lost 4 so far in 2022, 3 by COVID-19 and 1 by vehicular assault. They are Deputy Sheriff Michael Queenie from the Will County Sheriff's Office, COVID; Officer Brian Shields of the Aurora Police Department, COVID; Sergeant Kenneth Thurman Sr. of Aurora PD with COVID. And just recently, within the last couple of weeks, Deputy Sheriff Nicholas Weist of the Knox County Sheriff's Office, who was killed in a vehicular assault incident while attempting to apprehend a suspect. We have for the duration of my career, there has been a below 100 initiative to try to bring those line of duty deaths below 100. We were very close in the late teens, I guess, 2018, 2019, that area. And then COVID hit. And so COVID has certainly increased those numbers dramatically. But aside of COVID, obviously gunfire and vehicle accidents are the 2 leading causes of officer deaths in the line of duty. And so, we're attempting to get that on a nationwide level through initiatives of safety, seatbelt use, obviously things of that nature, training. to get that line of duty deaths below 100 in the below 100 initiative. There's a police officer killed every 58 hours. I mean, over the course of time, a police officer's killed one every 58 hours in the United States, and an average of 245 a year over the last 10 years. Again, those numbers significantly inflated with COVID-19. The first line of duty death occurred in 1791, and now there's been over 25,000 in all time. So, obviously we talked about May 15th, which I believe is Sunday is Peace Officer Memorial Day. And then we celebrate the entire week as Police Week. So you see those officers out there, be sure and thank them for the job they do, even in small towns, small towns and small counties like ours. They see a lot of things that the public would just as soon not know occur in their small areas. We're not immune to it just because we're in a small town. Fortunately, we don't deal with it in the frequency that they do in some of the larger cities and urban areas. So,
sure.
But certainly, over the course of my almost 26 years have certainly met, encountered, and worked with some very fine individuals. So,
Sure.
Thanks to all them from me as well.
Clinton Police Chief Ben Lauer's in studio with us here for this morning. Chief, you mentioned the Under 100 initiative. It's been several years since we've talked about this, just because of the environment of policing has changed so much in the last couple of years. I think a lot of people would say you're being rather compassionate when you say COVID has had a substantial impact on that initiative. I would also interject that perhaps, like I said, the environment towards policing has had a lot to do with that. And talking about this brought up my conversation with Sheriff Vogelzang in Piatt County from a few weeks back. And we dove into this a little bit ourselves about, what has changed for the environment of policing? Where has the, because we were close, it felt like there was a good rapport police with communities. We've talked about, community policing and things of that nature. What has changed that all of a sudden we have a disregard for our law enforcement?
Well, I'll take it a little bit farther than that, Seth, and not only law enforcement, but authority in general. I think if we had Mr. Nettles or any of our school administrators or even school teachers in here, they would agree with the same aspect of just an overall general lack of authority, period. It has become commonplace and to some degree acceptable to challenge authority. And law enforcement stands at the forefront of that, and so I think that is a tremendous change in our society in general. And with that, this is just my own personal opinion, my own personal theory, but I think the discontent when in politics and then the accessibility to media and social media has a tremendous role in that. And I can probably get on that soapbox and talk for hours. But I think that media, and I don't necessarily mean always mainstream media, but social media, the ability to disseminate personal opinions with zero accountability, and people buy into those things. We buy into the things that fit the agenda or fit our beliefs. And so, if you're an anti-authority sentiment type person, and you're constantly encouraged and motivated by people of like-mindedness, it just continues to brew. And then we have, I don't want to get into a debate by any means, but I have said we have had a limited number of very, very high profile incidents where police were maybe in the wrongdoing. And I will even argue that sometimes the police officer wasn't necessarily in the wrongdoing, but the media has portrayed that, or they have twisted the events, or maybe not told the whole story. I'm not saying that there aren't events and officers who have done a bad job or shouldn't be police officers. By no means. No one will crucify a bad police officer any faster than a good police officer. It's not, we talk
the
about
police themselves, if you will.
We talk about the brotherhood. We talk about the thin blue line. I'm telling you, I don't know anyone that will defend a bad cop, and if we want to get on that note, we could get so far off base here, but you're going to have them in every profession. I would say there's as few in law enforcement as there is in any other profession. So that's just my personal opinion, and I will defend that. But again, I mean, just a handful of very high profile cases that garnered tremendous nationwide, worldwide media attention. And, I've always make this comparison. We're quick to judge people in the public's eye and by what the media provides us. And then they go through the judicial process and they're exonerated or found not guilty. And then we have rioting and all the pushback. Well, the difference is there's no accountability on the media side. Okay. The court system plays its role out, and it is a system of physical evidence, and testimony. Those are the facts right there. And they don't always meet the agenda of the mainstream media. So, and I think a lot of the mainstream media, it reverts back to politics. And so, it is a huge, huge situation that we've created in our country. I don't see it getting better anytime soon. I do think that there will be a shift at some point. I don't know that I'll see that in my career. It has certainly had a tremendous impact on recruiting, on people. Who wants to become a police officer today when you're continually scrutinized? I can tell you as a law enforcement administrator in a small town, in a small agency, the complaints have increased significantly on basic things. Like
I've heard that before too. I was going to bring that up.
Said, and I've not asked specifically Sheriff Walker, but I would guess that it's probably the same with him or any police administrators. But it has just become quite commonplace that if I have contact with the police, I think I'm supposed to call and complain. On simple things as routine as traffic stops, as routine as calls for service. Well, I felt like the officer was rude, or this or that. And we do not currently have body cameras, but we're utilizing our dash cameras more than we ever have. And oftentimes in a review, so many of those complaints are unfounded at my level, and so I don't understand it. It is frustrating. It takes up a tremendous amount of time, because we do review those, we do look into those, but it has just become so common and acceptable to complain about law enforcement doing the job that they're hired and expected to perform, and doing a very good job at it. And we're still complaining,
right?
Right. And I don't mean that all the time. I don't want to leave this topic on a bad note, or on a negative connotation. We live in a very law enforcement supportive community, and we're blessed for that. We're very thankful for that. I would say that 98% of our community, if not higher, supports law enforcement, supports the police. Unfortunately, it's that very, very small faction. It goes back to that squeaky wheel gets the grease, and sometimes they're the loudest, making waves. So
sure.
Anyways, I think the shift, the stress that's placed on law enforcement now is so much broader than just an incident here or an incident there.
Right.
I mean, I think it's become a society issue.
Sure.
And I think that to answer your question 5 minutes later, I think that it goes back to that overall general lack of respect for authority, not only to law enforcement, to education, to anything, that and also just bad press, bad publicity, and a lack of accountability and such.
I would agree with that wholeheartedly. Let's take a break, Chief. Come back with some more. Clinton Police Chief Ben Lauer's in studio with us. The morning show streams to Facebook and YouTube, brought to you by Peterson Insurance, your Pekin insurance agent in Clinton.
Let's check the opening numbers now at the Chicago Board of Trade on this Wednesday. I'm Jim Taylor for the RFD Radio Network. Corn, beans, and wheat all starting the day higher. May corn 793.5. That's up 7. July corn up 5.5. 780 3/4. December new crop 723. Up 4. May beans starting the day 1634.5, up 4.5. July beans up 2.5. 1594 3/4. November new crop 1460, that's up 5 1/4. July wheat 1101 3/4, up 9. September wheat up 8 1/4. 11.04 3/4. December wheat 11.10 3/4, up 8 3/4. May bean meal down 3.20, 407.90, and May bean oil 88.05. That's up 9 cents. Look at the opening numbers at the Chicago Board of Trade on this Wednesday. Jim Taylor, RFD Radio Network.
Having a hard time finding the correct new car, truck, SUV, or crossover to fit your needs? This is Scott Baum from Bob Chevrolet Buick here in Clinton. Some lots look low on inventory, so go to our website, look at our pre-order and reserve tab. You'll see inventory in transit, which are built and on their way to Clinton, and in production, new Chevys and Buicks, which are being built and will arrive soon. Or you can always call our sales team. They can help you find the correct one just for you. BombChevyBuick.com, right from the start.
Here's a supply chain update from your Clinton Save-A-Lot. Owner Dave Jackson here to let you know that despite our best efforts, many times we're seeing specific items simply disappear off of our store shelves. Our suppliers are halting production of slower items to concentrate on the higher volume products. Keeping our shelves appearing full is becoming more difficult, but you have my personal guarantee we are pulling out all of the stops to keep the freshest meat and produce and the items you buy every day stocked and on our shelves. Your Clinton Save-A-Lot appreciates your business, and we hope to see you soon.
You're listening to The Morning Show, streamed by clicking the WHOW live icon at DeWittDailyNews.com.
Once again, good morning. Thanks for being with us. I'm your host today, Seth Lawrence. Clinton Police Chief Ben Lowers joins us in studio this morning. And Chief, it's really great weather. I was joking. I was in Monticello yesterday, and the baseball coach comes up to the press box, and I said, Coach, I didn't know I was going to wake up on, last night being March 1st, and it's August 15th here, but
Right.
It's nice and muggy, nice and warm. And it looks like we finally, broken out of that, nasty, gloomy stretch we were in. And I've got to say, the last couple of days, I've noticed a lot more people out, a lot more walkers, even golf carts are out a little bit more. So let's talk about being good neighbors, good citizens.
I got our golf cart out yesterday. So it is that season. And you're right, Seth. We went from late winter to midsummer real quick. And, that concerns me a little bit that we've not had that prep period. Building up to the heat. We talk about the humidity we have in the low 90s. I mean, we literally went from 50 degrees last week to 90 this week, and we live in the Midwest. We understand that, but this is pretty abrupt. Mm-hmm. And so the first and foremost, I would say to check on your neighbors, to those elderly people, those folks that don't get out as much. Like I said, we don't have very much build up to this heat that we're having, and that concerns me a little bit that people haven't had time to get that air conditioning going and things like that. So it may catch us a little bit behind the 8 ball there. So check on those elderly folks, your neighbors, your family, things of that nature. But with that, obviously, yes, also we've got a tremendous increase in foot traffic, pedestrian traffic, motorcycles, things like that. There's going to be people out later in the evening, the longer days, which I'm very, very thankful for. But that's also an increase in crime, something that I don't want to get too far into it. But it does feel like we have an increase in theft and things of that nature. And in a conversation here just in the last couple of days, I attribute some of that to some legislation, the elimination of cash bail and stuff. The fact of the matter is we have more criminals out on our streets right now because we don't keep them in jail. All right. Because of the cash bail changes in our legislation the last couple of years. So where, I can give an example of an arrest that we made just last week, a burglary arrest with possession of controlled substance, 2 felony crimes, that hold a sentence of 3 to 5 years in prison. And yet that person's back out on the street within 24 hours with a court date to attend a court date 30 days from now. Mm-hmm. But nonetheless, over the next 30 days, that individual is still out on the streets. And so
we really have to be vigilant then.
Yeah, absolutely. Rather than, in years past, 10 years ago, when we had these repeated theft cases, that person was eventually incarcerated. And so they were off the street. They were no longer a risk. I mean, we always have risks, but we were minimizing those risks because those individuals were incarcerated. And quite frankly, today they're not, or very seldom. And so they're repeatedly, it's kind of a revolving door. They're back out on the street, awaiting court appearances, things of that nature. And we're dealing with them on a very, very regular basis, when not daily, just multiple times a week. And so I attribute a lot of our increase to that, is just not being able to eliminate those risks or those individuals that are out there continually committing theft offenses. So nonetheless, yes. So on that topic, we just ask you to be extra vigilant, in locking things up. We have very few forced entry burglaries or thefts. So many times it's a crime of opportunity, where the individual, just has access to something, they grab it and they go. So just ask you to be a little bit more conscientious of the security around your properties.
Sure. Chief, 1 minute with you. Let's talk May Days and Memorial Day weekend.
So the return of May Days last year and again this year, May Days Festival on the Clinton Square, May 19th through the 22nd. That's a Thursday through Sunday. So we look forward to that every year. A big fundraiser for the Clinton Area Chamber of Commerce. Going to have a carnival, a lot of things going on there. I think you can go to their Facebook page or website and see what's going on there. So we always look forward to that. We always ask, please leave your dogs at home. It's a large crowd, large crowd, a lot going on, a lot of bells and whistles. It's not necessary to bring your dog. They can't necessarily ride the rides anyways. So bring your kids out, bring your family out, enjoy the carnival. And we look forward to that. Also, graduation, Sunday, May 22nd, always a big time for our seniors. We ask you to celebrate responsibly. And then additionally, the weekend of May 28th, 29th, Memorial Day weekend. Memorial Day, one of the deadliest holidays of the year. We ask you to celebrate responsibly and make good choices.
Chief, always good to see you. Thanks for coming out.
Thank you, Seth.
Clinton Police Chief Ben Lowers, our guest in studio. Network News is now.
The Big 1520 WHOW